Hello, and welcome to Ask the Expert, a daily series from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. So ask any questions today in the comments below or hashtag QBATE on Twitter, where I'll be answering all sorts of questions as a SME. If you've got any questions on growth, etc., help is on hand. Now, if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. Now, QuickBooks also has a dedicated COVID-19 information site. Just go over to the QuickBooks website, scroll down a little bit, and click on the Learn Big More button under the header Support for You and Your Business During COVID-19. So to introduce myself, I'm Shoaib Aslam. I'm a practicing chartered accountant. I formally qualified from the Big Four, from PwC. I qualified as an ACA. I went into my own business. I set up a number of businesses, and initially my first business was the accountancy practice, Pearl Accountants, which I set up almost 12 years ago. It's doing really well. We're one of QuickBooks Pro advisors, and there I currently head up the accountancy practice in London. We're also, as stated, we're certified QuickBooks Pro advisors. Now, other than this, I run a number of other successful businesses, including e-commerce, and my specialism lies in helping businesses with all aspects of growth and productivity. For instance, if you're a small business and you're thinking of setting up an e-commerce store, you're thinking of setting up Shopify, BigCommerce, we've got WooCommerce. There's a number of platforms, and you're thinking, actually, how do I take that business to the next level, either from marketing, either from systems, or processes? How can I integrate all my softwares together to make the experience much more productive, or better for my customer experience? So we get involved with all aspects of that. Like I said, I mentioned, I run a number of other businesses whilst being a chartered accountant. So in terms of running a business and seeing the entire show, I've seen that firsthand. So more than happy to experience and share my thoughts on some of the processes and how we can achieve that. Now, recently, as you know, there's been a number of government incentives. Initially, they started off with the BBL during COVID-19. I think that was around March, April time. The BBL scheme came into play. It was, I believe, executed on the May the 4th, and just before that we had the CBIL schemes. Now that was a government initiative to help small businesses get loans who are experiencing difficulty. The BBL was really in play to help businesses because it's a lot easier. The government realized it's much more difficult to apply for a CBILS application. Now, coupled with that, we've got a number of other initiatives as well that the government has announced, whether it's grants for council business rates, or incentives or deferment schemes for taxes. But what I really want to focus on today, obviously, is as an SME, how can we utilize this time to make our businesses come out much stronger than we went into. For instance, in March, a lot of businesses were asked to either close down if you're in the retail industry, and either work or work from home. Now, what have we done during this time? There's a lot of thought and experiences that we come across with small businesses, and what we realize is businesses are spending a lot of time investing that time looking at how they can set up workflows, something to look into, that can help you become a lot more productive. Or what can you do to invest your time on marketing, SEO, setting up the right CRMs. And again, one of the things that I've got experience with is working with a number of CRM applications, whether that's Infusionsoft, Salesforce, or you've got the likes of some of the other smaller applications. You've got Monday.com, you've got various other avenues, or you've got email marketing software like MailChimp. How can you utilize and set these up to gain more business? So, during this time, we've had a chat with a number of businesses, and some of the businesses have invested in OCR, for example, how to use the likes of data capture tools in order to cut down on their bookkeeping time. So, for example, if you've got loads of invoices, what can you do to quickly take a picture, ensure they're uploaded, and that also helps you cut down your accountancy fees as well. You've also got a number of other tools that you may want to be considering during this difficult time, such as stock management softwares, which you can accurately identify how much stock you've got on hand, how much stock can you essentially invest, how much do you need to buy, how much do you need to hold as a buffer. Perhaps you can take payments from these stock management tools as well. So there's a lot of things that you can be looking into to run your SME, or for instance, there are a number of businesses during COVID-19 that were affected, which had to, as I mentioned, to start working from home. And obviously, if they weren't cloud-based completely, it just meant they had to make sure all their computers and everything, they had to be, linked up together. And if you've got, various sets of LAN network in the office, have you considered hosted solutions? Have you looked at completely cloud? And one of the advantages of being completely cloud is the fact that you can very quickly and easily, without having to cost, an arm and a leg, integrate all your software and platforms together. So, for example, you've got an order from Shopify. Have you been able to link that up and ensure the invoice automatically gets generated in QuickBooks, for instance? That can help you a lot of time and also ensure your customers get the right invoices at the right time as well. It can, help you identify, what your sales trends are, how quickly you need to be able to buy more stock. So it gives you a full, full insight into your business on a real time. So we've got a lot of questions coming up, and I'm going to head into the questions shortly. But please, don't forget, you've got comments section below. You've got comments on Twitter. You can hashtag QBATE, and I'll be more than happy to take these and answer any questions that you have. So, just heading back to your small business, obviously we've discussed various scenarios, whether you're on an e-commerce platform, or you're using various other stock management tools. One of the things that I've also realized is having the right workflows. Now, depending on which, what kind of industry you're in, one of the things that we've realized, which helps your bottom line profits, is to, visualize what happens currently in the office. We've sat down with clients where we've looked at, well, this job was currently being done by one staff member, which was then reviewed by someone else, which was then printed off for review by someone else to authorize, which then meant someone externally from the office had to go and, carry out a certain action. One of the things that we've realized works really well is to have these workflows using bespoke CRMs and systems where you can give them limitations, but it also allows you to look at various aspects of reporting and KPIs against each candidate and see, how we manage to achieve those tasks in the right time. Now, it's very useful if you're a consultative firm or you're a design agency and you want to find out, how much work was done. So have a look at these, platforms. We can sit down with you and, identify opportunities as such to make your businesses much more productive. Um, I'm going to start taking a few questions. We've got a question coming from Ruby on Twitter. It's a direct message. She's mentioned, do you have any tips for managing multiple businesses at the same time? I have one business and would love to love to start another one. What would your advice be? I'm also curious how you think about what you spend time on having multiple businesses. Curious on how you think about what you spend time on having multiple businesses. Now, I myself, Ruby, I run a number of businesses myself, and these vary from my accountancy practice to an e-commerce platform to a finance organization. In the past, I've had a Manuka honey business, and various other different industries that I've been involved in. And one of the things that I've realized is managing all these businesses is it can be very, very difficult. But the fundamental aspect of marketing, marketing, finance, workflows. You've got so many aspects to make sure that the business works properly, and you've got management. So many things to look after. And what I thought was, I mapped this all out on a piece of paper, and I thought, actually, what systems and tools can I be using that can help me to manage those businesses all in one platform? So there are tools out there where you can integrate various. So let's say you're running 5 different businesses and you've got QuickBooks license for each of them. Well, that's fantastic. But can we pull that information from QuickBooks into one central database to see real-time data? Now, if you look at that and you've got triggers where, actually, my cash reserves on business A has gone down, actually, it can notify you. Now, that means your time can be well spent looking at the high level information. And that's really, really important. Or you've got platforms where, you've got, I certainly have a lot of to-do tasks, and I think about it all the time as a businessman, it comes to mind. So I have a platform where I just put in, certain to-do tasks every single day. And beside that, I write down the practice name. I use a tool called monday.com. It works really well. I put a deadline. I can filter that to say what are the things that I need to do for business A versus business B. And once they're ticked off, I go into the relevant CRM applications to make sure they've done properly. So I use, for example, Salesforce. You've got different multi-organizations. So whilst having one license, you can actually look at a number of different organizations. You could do that with Infusionsoft. So previously I was doing that for Infusionsoft CRM, and it works really, really well. So it just means, first of all, less software fees, and maybe accountancy fees, but more time actually looking at the high level information, making sure things are done properly. It also goes for marketing. So, I realized we do a lot of PR, we do various aspects of backlinking, we do SEO, we do, the list goes on. So we've got applications like SEMrush, and within that you can have multi, projects, and you can set up different, different website URLs for your businesses, and it works really well. It just means your concentration is heavily invested on actually managing, rather than being counterproductive and actually looking into each application coming out. It also means that once you're managing the marketing for one business, well, you've got the option to add another one, and you might as well. So it just, it's just really efficient to look after that. There's a lot that can be said here to manage multiple businesses, but I'd certainly start off with that aspect first. You've also got we've got another message from Krista from Twitter. It's a direct message again. Morning, Shoaib. We've been reminded more recently how important having a cash saving pot can be. I was wondering if you have any advice with the best possible ways to save money aside as a small business. Now, and you're absolutely right. Cash is king, not just now, but I think in the months and years ahead. I think it's really, really important that, a lot of businesses, they've got their BBL loans, and some of them got a bit more than what they actually need. They don't actually know what to do with it. Or for instance, if you've got those cash saving reserves at the moment, look at, and I always say this to my clients: look at the next 12 months forecast. That's the most important. Then look at the next 2 to 5 years, and that's really important as well. Now, once you've pictured out the short-term cash flow projection, you can budget, okay, well, this amount will go into my marketing, this will go into reinvestment, or we need to buy another premises. So there are applications, and again, the conversation revolves around softwares. There are applications out there that can help you forecast where your money will go, and these are brilliant tools to be able to link these to platforms like your cloud accounting software, for example, QuickBooks. They can say, all right, well, this is what your profitability is so far now with your balance sheet position as of let's say 30th of June. But in the next 12 months, based on what you've advised us, your cash flow projection is going to be XYZ. And that is because you're going to be taking on a new premises, or you've got a new marketing project, or you've won a new contract. And it bears that in mind, and it says, actually, this is what you'll be left with. Now, it may mean that you're saving more than what you need to, which is also not advisable to an extent. And it may be that actually you're spending a lot more. So using these particular tools, we encourage that, and then certainly in our accounting practice at Pearl Accountants, we've set these up for a number of our businesses, and it really helps them to grow and identify opportunities in the future. It's almost, you're looking at those cash reserves and thinking, actually, can I sell a different line of service? Can I set up a different cost center? Can I diversify my business because of COVID-19, for instance? So it's really important you start questioning that, for your business on a regular basis, not just because you've got cash, but also the direction and the strategy of your business. We've got questions coming up, so yeah, I mean, feel free to get in touch and send us these messages. We would obviously we love to help you. We've got another message from Kelly from Facebook Messenger. The message is, hi Shoaib, as a small business, we want to do everything we can to put us into the best possible shape for the future. And in order to do that, we're thinking of bringing in productivity tools. As well as QuickBooks, what else could make our mortgage broker company run even more efficiently? Very good question. So as a mortgage broker company, let's really analyze that business first of all. You're bound to have a lot of leads. You're also bound to have contracts, either with vendors or your customers. So the first thing that comes to mind is a very, very good CRM. As a mortgage broker, I'd identify how many people you have in your workplace. Now, if you've just got yourself and one other colleague, probably not best to invest into applications like CRM because they are quite expensive. Maybe look at something like Infusionsoft, or you've got other productivity tools that are a lot more cheaper and efficient. Other than that, in terms of productivity tools, I'd also look at whether you can use applications for signing off contracts. So Proposify is a good tool to be able to get your suppliers and customers to sign off proposals. I used to use DocuSign in the past, and that worked really well for me. I used tools like MailParser once to integrate the CRM application to DocuSign, so you map out each field, which means you don't need to go into DocuSign and keep typing a new contract all the time. If you're sending out, say, 2-3 proposals a day, and that's taking half an hour of your time, well, that's half an hour times 5. That's almost 2.5 hours a week, almost half a day that you've saved just because you've got the right platforms and you're just keying in the information in a central place, such as your CRM, and that's talking to your proposal tools, such as DocuSign. So have a look at those. And again, there's a number of other ways of looking at this. If you're looking at it from a marketing perspective or operational perspective, or if you've got employees, look at tools like, I don't know, something like Natural HR, which allows you to manage your staff, their time off, the engagement, and their HR letters. Or if you wanted other tools, for your own employees. Or if you wanted any particular details against each client. So again, there are systems out there. We've got questions coming up, so I'm going to move on. We've got Alexis from Facebook Messenger. The questions mentioned, hi. As we want to best prepare for the future, what are your top tips for cash flow forecasting? Again, very similar to the earlier question, I would certainly look at the cash flow forecasting tools. You've got tools such as Fluidly. You've got a number. On the top of my head, you've got there was a few reporting tools. You've got Spotlight reporting. You've got Fathom reporting. Futurely. I would certainly look at these tools, which can really help you forecast your cash flow. They are expensive. I would, in the first instance, speak to my accountant. I think that would be far better. I think sometimes it's not just a matter of keying in the information in these software platforms and trying to understand, what sense we can make out of them. I think the best thing to do is speak to your accountant and say, look, I've got, I've got another 50,000 or 100,000 on the side in the next 6 to 12 months. These are my obligations. These are my commitments. How can I utilize that and ensure we've got the right amount, after 6 months for another project, or we've got enough cash buffer. So although these tools are really good, I think primarily for cash flow forecasting, I would recommend, someone who understands accounts to be able to help you cash flow forecast these. We've got another question coming up from Arena from Facebook Live. She's mentioned, good morning. I want to ask you about ACCA. What requirements need to join and where is it located? What requirements need to join and where is it located? Now, I'm assuming this is in terms of your future prospects getting into accountancy. Well, I mean, in terms of the requirements of ACCA, there's a number of institutes. You've got the CIMA, ACCA, and ICAW. You've got a few other from institutes across the UK, and to name a few. Now, in terms of requirements, each institute has its own requirement. You'll need to go onto the ACCA's website. We've got candidates in our office that are trainees. As far as I'm aware, obviously, the requirement, you don't have to have a degree in order to do ACCA, but you'll need to have a look on ACCA's website in terms of the basic requirements. Again, that can be done anywhere in the world. You don't need to be in the UK. ACCA is a global recognized qualification. I think it's a brilliant qualification. That can give you opportunities worldwide. I would, however, thoroughly look at all institutes and compare them and identify which is the best one for you and what you want to achieve. We've got another message from Oliver. It's a direct message on Twitter. I heard about dropshipping. Can I really make money out of it, or is it a saturated market? Drop shipping, I think it's brilliant. There is a particular platform for drop shipping which allows you to identify, what are the hot sells, and you can go there and see analytically which products to buy and sell. People are making a lot of money. We've got clients, we've got probably a couple of hundred clients in the same industry. They're making very, very good money. And it also depends, what you want to achieve. You need to be alert in that market. It's it can be a tricky situation. You may need some cash reserves in order to buy stock as well, remember. So it depends how much investment you have, how much time you have, and how alert you are in that business. I think, that's really important. Knowledge is also a key in that industry. I think if you're always up to date with the latest products, I think, you can make a decent amount of living. Also, it depends how much you want to make. If you want to make a few, I think the most I've met a few people that they've made out of drop shipping is a couple of £1 million, but these are the really successful people I've come across. There might be people making more, but it just depends. I think our average customer probably makes about 50 to £100,000 profit a year as a dropshipper. And then we've got Graslin from Facebook Messenger. I'm interested in Man United model or buying a company with debt. Is it still a good idea to do this during these times? I think it is. I think have a look at the the valuation of the business and the future prospects. I think that's really, really, really important. Look at, are we valuing the business properly? Are there any prospects for that business? So don't just look at it in the sense that, okay, it's not doing well, I think I can manage it. Well, there's a reason perhaps why people haven't managed it so well, but you could be right. It could be a prize winner business which might be good for the long term. We've got Will's message. Hi Shoaib, we're very new when it comes down to e-commerce. Where would you recommend to start and learn the basics? It depends what products you sell. It depends what your requirements are. I would, and it depends what your budget is. If you look at BigCommerce, it's quite expensive. Salesforce is, pretty expensive. With the community commerce model, I think it starts with 150,000 a year, and it can go up in millions. So if you look at the slightly more competitive ones, you've got WooCommerce, which is absolutely free, and you've got Shopify. I would probably look at your budget. I would also look at your requirements. I would also look at the opportunities as well. And I think that's really, really important to identify where we are. Now, we've still got questions coming up, so I'm going to try and wrap up. And thank you again for asking all the questions across Facebook and Twitter. So any questions, get in touch with QuickBooks support on Facebook or myself. And you can get in touch with myself on 0208 582 0076, or go onto our website on www.pearlaccountants.com. Coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Johan Gori, who's a QuickBooks advisor and the MD of JGBC, who specialize in small businesses. And they ask help with their journey, utilizing the cloud software to give them live data to share their business with. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. Thanks for watching and stay safe.